Pat. Your story there actually kind of segues right into my experience with Neil. I came to know Neil a couple of years ago. Actually met him for the first time at one of these AES sessions. Actually was the demonstration of the QSC cinema system for the Toronto Film Festival. So that was the first time I met him in person, and actually it was a really neat evening. I got the opportunity to bring him to his hotel room and just had a wonderful chat there, and just a fantastic evening. But nevertheless, after that first meeting, it was just fate that just brought us together several times since that time. He asked me to help him to drive down to Salt Lake City for the SynodCon workshop on grounding, shielding, and things that go zap. I love the names that they came up with there, but when he asked me whether I'd be willing to help him with that endeavor, I said, boy, would I ever love to. So I grabbed that opportunity, and that July, I had the privilege of spending 3 weeks with him, driving all the way down to Salt Lake City. It was quite an experience. Let's put it this way. He pulls up to my house in Hamilton with his old van. And this is first week in July. The air conditioning isn't working. And here we are getting ready to do a multiple thousand-mile trek all the way to Salt Lake City. So he pulls up in this van, and you have to understand Neil, when he does a workshop like the grounding and shielding seminar, he has all kinds of crazy contraptions that he uses to demonstrate some incredible principles, and it's just really profound. Some of the stuff that he has developed, it's almost like a mad scientist at work here. So anyway, here we are. He has this van just chock full of all kinds of gear and gadgets. I mean, quite literally, he packed up his entire lab from the basement, put it in the van, and here we are traveling across the border in his van. He's driving, and it was definitely at least a 5 or 6 on the Richter scale. And I'm going, oh boy, what did I get myself into here? But anyway, we had such a wonderful time. We got across the border, no problem. I thought we were going to be held up for a couple hours while they were going to tear apart the entire van and everything. But I mean, quite literally, they just waved us through. It was just amazing. But it was quite an amazing trip. We got to see all kinds of sites going across the U.S. We dropped by a lot of his friends and several of the studios that he'd been involved with down there in the States. So it's really great to see some really incredible people on the way. And we took in some sites, saw probably one of the most memorable fireworks shows. We were actually quite literally driving right into Omaha, Nebraska, and we were driving right through the downtown, and up on the hills were all the neighborhoods, and everyone had their own little fireworks show. And it was just a real treat to drive right in. Just as the sun was setting, everyone was shooting the fireworks off. It was just an amazing sight and a real treat. But, you know, we got to see Mount Rushmore and Yellowstone National Park. And let's put it this way. Once we got across the border, I said, Neil, I'm going to take care of the driving from this point on. It was the wisest decision because we got there in one piece, and actually we rented a van with air conditioning so we wouldn't melt on that trip. Anyway, regardless, you know, there have been many visits to his house. Probably many of you shared the same experience where he would cook this most amazing gourmet meal, and then afterwards we would sit down in his living room and listen to some incredible jazz recordings on his Ampex deck and all that. But it was last Christmas Eve that I got a phone call from Neil. And unfortunately at the time, he was laid up in the hospital. And he said, you know, Arthur, when I get back home, can you help me with some computer issues that I was having? And I said, sure, Neil, no problem. I'd love to. So I wished him a Merry Christmas and hoped that he would get back soon and get on the mend. The next morning, I just, after opening the presents to the family and all that, I just thought, Neil really needs a visit. So after, taking care of things at home, making sure the wife was happy with everything in terms of the preparations for Christmas dinner and everything, I decided I'm going to pack up one of my presents, a nice autobiography by Steve Jobs, pack that up and wrap that up as a present, and go over and visit Neil and give him a surprise of his lifetime. So it was just absolutely wonderful. We spent the afternoon there chatting just about everything from audio to jazz to just life in general. It was just an amazing time. The time just flew by so quickly. And before I knew it, it was time to head home. And quite literally, I got home just in time to walk right up to the table and have Christmas dinner. It was just an amazing experience. And just to say that it's great to know our peers professionally, but Neil was always so generous in giving of himself, not only professionally, but personally as well. And it was just a very unique experience to develop a friendship beyond the typical shop talk that we get sometimes caught up in. And I'm just glad that I got to know Neil, not only for the audio genius that he is, but also as a dear friend. It's those memories that we have a lasting impression in our lives, and certainly he's done that for me. I just count that as a privilege. Thank you so much.